Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Emily Hiles, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander Sarah Jane Leach. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of St Eugene College visiting from Burpengary, Queensland, and students from St Mary's School, Goondiwindi, Queensland. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Crozier, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament. Flowers of the forest, wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Trooper Richard Walters Crozier. Richard was born on the 16th of October, 1891 in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales. He was the eldest son of Thomas and Hannah Crozier. Along with his three siblings, Margaret, Stanley, and Sydney, Richard grew up in Numurkah, a small farming community in northern Victoria. When Richard was 11, his mother Hannah died suddenly, leaving his father to run the family farm and care for his young children alone. Richard attended Numurkah State School with his siblings before the family moved back to Culcairn, just south of Wagga Wagga. After finishing school, Richard worked as a farm labourer alongside his younger brother Stanley. Richard joined the Australian Imperial Force on the 18th of January 1915, 4 days after his brother Sydney had enlisted. Both were assigned to the 6th Australian Light Horse Regiment with the rank of trooper. Richard left Australia from Newcastle on the 22nd of May 1915 in HMAT Bukhara, travelling to Egypt for further training. After a few months at camp in Egypt, Richard, along with Sydney, arrived at Gallipoli on the 2nd of October. The 6th Light Horse were responsible for a small sector on the far right of the Anzac Line and played primarily defensive role during Richard's time on the peninsula. On the 25th of November, while in the trenches, Richard was shot in the neck and evacuated to St Elmo's Hospital on Malta for treatment. While in hospital, he wrote frequently to his brother Sydney. He was discharged to camp on Malta on the 22nd of December and remained there for the rest of 1915. On the 8th of January, Richard was charged with disobeying an order at camp and awarded 7 days field punishment, number 2 as a result. Richard finally rejoined the 6th Light Horse Regiment at Romani, Palestine on the 13th of May 1916 and was reunited with Sydney. Throughout that year, the regiment were involved in the defence of the Suez Canal against Turkish attack across the Sinai Desert, assisting in the reinforcement of British positions and the destruction of Turkish ones. The area around Suez Canal had been largely unprotected from the outbreak of the war, and British attempts to reassert authority had promoted Ottoman and German attacks. The 6th Light Horse conducted mounted patrols and reconnaissance from April 1916 onwards, based at Romani in the Sinai Desert. The Turkish threat to the Suez Canal was finally halted by the Battle of Romani from the 3rd to the 5th of August 1916. The Ottoman forces attempted to outflank British defences 35 kilometres east of the Suez Canal early on the 4th of August. This led to heavy fighting until reinforcements arrived to hold the British position and push the Turkish army back. The 6th Light Horse rode out to assist in the defence of British positions in the sand dunes after receiving word of the Ottoman attack, with brothers Richard and Sydney riding side by side. As they approached one of the sand dunes, the 6th Light Horse came under machine gun fire. Richard was shot through the heart by one of the bullets. He managed to tell Sydney that he had been hit and rode a few yards before dying and falling off his horse. He was 24 years old. Sydney wrote home after Richard's death, asking his father to not take it too bad. He reassured his family that I was with Dick to the last. He did not know what happened to him and only lasted a little while after he was hit. Dick had no pain at all. He died on the battlefield, a good soldier and a good man. Richard's body was recovered after the battle and buried at Burramala Cemetery. His remains were exhumed and reinterred at Canberra War Memorial Cemetery in Egypt in 1925. His name is also listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Richard Walters Crozier, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. In the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Crozier or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.